Hey everyone, welcome to another explainer. Today, we're taking something that usually strikes fear into the hearts of home bakers and breaking it down into totally manageable, bite-sized pieces. I am so excited about this one because we're heading into the kitchen to demystify the mighty churro. Seriously, if you've ever thought making churros was strictly reserved for theme parks or, fancy bakeries, get ready to have your mind blown. We're going to prove that you can make these crispy, golden beauties like an absolute pro with literally zero special skills. Just simple techniques and basic tools.
Okay, let's dive right into this. We're going to conquer this culinary journey in 3 straightforward acts. Act 1, the simple churro dough. Act 2, the rich chocolate sauce. And Act 3, frying to golden perfection.
So, kicking things off with Act 1, the simple churro dough. Time to conquer the basics. Let me just reassure you right out of the gate here. The technical term for this dough is choux pastry, which, sounds incredibly French and intimidating. But look at these ingredients: water, sugar, salt, butter, flour, and eggs. That is literally it. These are super simple pantry staples. I'd bet good money you probably have every single one of these sitting in your kitchen right now. So there is absolutely no need for an emergency run to a specialty grocery store. We're keeping it easy.
Okay, so here's how the stovetop magic actually happens. You're gonna grab a pot, pour in a glass of water, toss in the sugar and a half teaspoon of salt and give it a quick stir. Then add your butter. You can totally chop it into little cubes if you want it to melt faster, but honestly, it's no big deal if you don't. Fire up your stove to medium heat. It'll take about a minute or so for that butter to fully melt. Now, right when it's on the absolute verge of boiling, that's your cue. Grab a cup of flour, dump it straight into the pan. Toss in 2 extra tablespoons just for good measure, and then you stir fast and furious. This is the rapid-fire action phase. You want to whip that mixture like you mean it to avoid any weird lumps. Think of it as your 3 to 5 minute arm workout for the day. You're basically looking for it to eventually feel like Play-Doh, just, slightly less colorful.
But a quick warning, it is not going to look pretty right away. At first, this dough is going to be sticky like a reality TV drama. It's absolutely going to fight back. It'll cling to your spoon. It'll look like a giant mess, but you just have to keep at it. Keep stirring until it magically pulls away from the edges of the pan and forms this nice, smooth, cohesive ball. Trust the process here.
Now, what happens next is a totally crucial step. You'll transfer that hot dough into a clean bowl. But, and this is important, do not add the eggs yet. You've got to let it chill for about 5 minutes. Why? Well, if you drop raw eggs into boiling hot dough, you're going to get scrambled eggs. And absolutely nobody wants scrambled egg churros. So let's work smarter, not harder. Spread the dough up along the sides of the bowl so it cools down a lot faster. This cooling period is absolutely essential to stop those eggs from curdling and to make sure they blend in nice and smooth.
Now, what's really interesting about this next phase is how you choose to tackle it. While the dough takes a quick 5-minute nap, you'll whisk your first egg. Once the dough is cool, you slowly introduce the egg bit by bit, kind of like a cautious first date. As you can see, you have 2 distinct methods for mixing it in. There's the lazy method, grabbing a hand mixer with those fancy dough hooks. It's incredibly easy and honestly, highly recommended. But hey, if you're feeling heroic, you can totally go the old school route, using a wooden spoon or spatula. Just be warned, mixing this thick dough by hand is definitely going to require some serious elbow grease.
Whichever method you go with, you're going to hit a phase where you think, oh no, I've completely ruined this. Your mix will look awful. It's going to look like it's having a total identity crisis. Part liquid, part solid, just a chunky, slippery mess. I promise you, this is completely normal. Just keep mixing. Eventually, the ingredients will decide to play nice, and it'll turn into this really smooth, happy, shiny mixture. Once that first egg is fully blended, crack the second egg straight into the dough. No tiptoeing required this time, and mix it right in. You might even need to add just a tiny splash more beaten egg if your dough is still a bit too thick. Basically, you want it smooth, shiny, and thick enough to hold its shape. Once you nail that texture, slap some cling film over it and toss it right in the fridge.
All right, moving on to Act 2, the rich chocolate sauce. Time to craft the ultimate sidekick. So, while our dough is chilling out in the fridge, we get to take this very relaxing, very delicious detour. And this number right here, 70. That is the secret to elevating your sauce, as in 70% cacao dark chocolate. Our source recommends using just a smidge under 2 ounces, about 50 grams, of this beautifully bitter, rich chocolate to really anchor the flavor profile. Now listen, if you don't have 70% dark chocolate on hand, please don't panic. Just grab whatever chocolate you have lying around. But if you can swing it, that dark chocolate absolutely nails the balance with the sweetness of the churro.
Let's walk through how this actually builds into an amazing sauce. First,
Chop up your chocolate and pop it into a saucepan, ideally one with a nice thick bottom so it doesn't burn. Next, sprinkle in some sugar. And yeah, adding straight sugar to already sweet chocolate might raise a few eyebrows, but trust me on this, it's going to be scrumptious. Pour in half a cup of milk, fire the stove up to low, and just give it time to melt down gently. Give it a stir every now and then. We are aiming for a really smooth, thick, evenly blended pool of absolute temptation.
The final step for the sauce is where the real texture comes into play. While your chocolate is melting, you're going to mix a little less than a teaspoon of cornstarch with 2 tablespoons of water. Give that a good whirl with a chopstick until there are 0 lumps. Just pure groove, as our source says. Once your chocolate is melted, give that starch mixture one more quick stir, and then fold it right into the saucepan. That starch is going to work absolute magic. Within literally a minute or 2 of cooking, it thickens everything up, giving the sauce this incredible creaminess and density. Honestly, it's so good you could just eat it with a spoon, even without the churros.
But we obviously cannot forget the main event. Act 3, frying to golden perfection, the final trial by fire.
All right, time to pour about half a liter of vegetable oil into a frying pan and set that heat to just below medium. While the oil is heating up, go ahead and pull your dough out of the fridge. But I've got to drop a massive pro tip right here. Letting that dough sit in the fridge overnight, it really steps up the churro game. It gives the flour time to fully hydrate and lets all those flavors develop. If you actually have the patience to make the dough a day ahead, I promise you the final results are absolutely next level.
Now, to get the dough into the oil, you're going to need some kind of piping tool. And this brilliantly illustrates how you really don't need fancy gear for this. Sure, the Pro tool on the left is a proper piping bag fitted with a French star tip, and that star tip is definitely recommended because it gives the churros those iconic ridges that just crisp up so beautifully in the hot oil. It's a small detail that makes a big difference, but look at the makeshift tool on the right. If you don't have the Pro setup, zero stress. Just grab a regular plastic food storage bag, snip off one of the corners, and boom, you are in business. It might not look quite as professional, but it will 100% get the job done and taste exactly as delicious. So, the oil has been heating up. Your bag is loaded with dough. But here is the million-dollar question. How do you actually know when the oil is ready? I mean, if it's too cold, your churros are just going to soak up all the grease and get incredibly soggy. But if it's too hot, the outside is going to burn before the inside even cooks. You really can't just guess here.
The good news? You don't need a fancy cooking thermometer. You literally just need a wooden stick, like a chopstick or a skewer. Just dip that wooden stick directly into the heated oil. If you see steady bubbles forming around the wood and floating to the top, it is go time. The oil is perfectly heated. It's a completely foolproof kitchen trick.
Okay, now for a brilliant little hack that guarantees perfectly straight, beautiful churros. Whatever you do, do not squeeze the dough directly over the hot, splashing oil. Instead, gently squeeze the dough out onto a piece of baking paper. This keeps them looking absolutely perfect. Then, snag that paper holding the churro dough and carefully ease the whole thing, paper and all, right into the sizzling oil. Press the paper down slightly, and in just a few seconds, the churros will release and float right up to the surface like they're on vacation. Then you just use some tongs to gently pull the empty paper out of the pan.
A super quick word of caution though. Please watch your fingers. Ease that paper in gently. Hot oil is totally unforgiving, and the original creator of this recipe actually noted that they learned that lesson the hard way. So stay safe, do not rush this part, and definitely use long tongs to grab that paper out.
Once your churros are floating happily, you're going to fry them for about 2 minutes per side. But remember, the clock is really just a loose guideline here. It's all about achieving that perfect golden color, not staring at a timer. Keep your eyes on them. Once they hit a deep, crispy golden brown, carefully remove them, let the excess oil drain off, and toss them into your favorite bowl. Serve them up like royalty, and whatever you do, you have to eat them while they're hot. Dip those warm, crispy, ridged churros straight into that rich, creamy chocolate sauce we made earlier. It is absolutely irresistible. So there you have it, the super intimidating churro, completely demystified using water, flour, a wooden stick, and just a little bit of patience. Now the only question left to answer is this. Are you bold enough to try the overnight chill method to take these to the next level? And maybe more importantly, once you pull these golden beauties out of the oil, who are you actually sharing them with? Or let's be real, are you just keeping that entire bowl of chocolate sauce for yourself? No judgment here. Either way, you've absolutely got to try this in your own kitchen. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and hey, happy frying.